Welcome to Rack of the Week 202. Oops, he did it again. Jayson Shaw set a new world record. We're going to talk about that in this week's video. First, I want to say thank you, as always, to my supporters on Patreon and YouTube. Head over to Patreon or hit the join button on YouTube, and you can learn about that. I've featured Jayson twice on this channel before. I'll make my face bigger on the screen so the screen's not blank. 2 weeks ago, so I'm just reading my script for you here. 2 weeks ago, Jayson Shaw beat his own record. The new straight pool high run record now stands at 832. Jayson has clearly stated his goal is to run over 1,000 balls, and I don't doubt he can do it, or that someone will run over 1,000 balls within the next few years. 3 years ago, when he ran the 714, I wasn't as confident. Rather than a typical Rack of the Week video where I show a rack or two and talk about it, we're going to look at a bunch of shots by Jayson. But first, I have a few things to say. First, let's recognize the difference between a solo high run attempt and a straight pool tournament high run. In my opinion, there will never be a player who wins a straight pool tournament match, a pro match, with an unfinished 100 or more ball run, and then continues to shoot and runs over 800 balls. Never going to happen. First of all, because the tables at a tournament are typically tougher. And second, because a single run attempt isn't enough to outrun the random forces that are at play. So I just want to recognize how fantastic was Willie Mosconi's run of 526 balls. Because he didn't play for a week, 8 hours a day, every day, trying to run that many balls. It was a single run where he continued a run at the end of an exhibition match. That said, what Jayson Shaw and others are attempting to do in this era is phenomenal. And I think it uplifts pool and the game of straight pool. It's exciting and it draws players and spectators to the game. The availability of camera equipment and streaming is what I think makes solo high run attempts popular today. It's on video and you ain't gonna fake it. And spectators can watch the run at any time. Some people say that the 714 and 832 tables are easy. Well, if they were so easy, then why didn't Shane Van Boening, Earl Strickland, and Ruslan Chainikov all score less than 350 balls in their attempts? While Jayson scored over 500 balls 4 times. The reason is that a long solo high run in straight pool is about more than just straight pool. Jayson isn't playing what we might consider to be a textbook straight pool game, but he is playing the game correctly for the equipment and for the challenge at hand. That's something the other players didn't figure out. Think about this. Jayson holds 2 straight pool high run records, but has never won the 14-1 straight pool championship. But Shane Van Boening has won the 14-1 tournament. Just think about that. Tournaments have opponents. They have more strategy, more safeties, tougher playing conditions. The two are not the same, so let's not treat them as the same. One of them is not better than the other. Both are deserving of our respect as straight pool players. Now, the 832 run table was on a table that was described as a standard table. What does that mean? Well, you'll have to ask Bobby Chamberlain. In my opinion, what it means is, think about during the 1960s and 70s in America. If you went into any pool room, chances are that pool room was full of Brunswick Gold Crown pool tables with 5-inch pockets. Now, I think the 832 table is measured at 4.9, but it's kind of a standard, a 5-inch pocket. Some of my century runs were on a Gold Crown with 5-inch pockets. Look at Earl and Efren Reyes playing 9-ball in the 1990s. Guess what? They were on Gold Crowns with 5-inch pockets. That doesn't make the table easy. It only makes the table easier than, let's say, a diamond with 4.5-inch pockets. We all agree that no one is ever going to run 700 or 800 or 1,000 balls on a diamond with 4.5-inch pocket. It's too tough. But running hundreds of balls in a row is still monumentally difficult. and I'm excited to see more. And it would be nice to see more attempts by other players. As I mentioned, it takes more than just straight pool knowledge to put up a monster run. It takes a level of mental fortitude and concentration and focus that I can't comprehend. It also takes a playing style that is relaxed and very efficient. That's the reason, in my opinion, why the others that I mentioned weren't able to run over 400, over 500 balls. Some people have stated that a player of the caliber of, let's say, Fedor Gorst should give it a try. Now, I have no doubt that Fedor has all of the physical skills required, but in my opinion, he would have to dramatically change his shot routine and pace of play to put up a monster run the way that Jayson Shaw has. In fact, there's only one top pro today that I can think of who I sincerely believe has what it takes to run possibly 1,000 balls, and that's Joshua Filler. Sadly, as of now, we don't even know if he has any interest in even trying. But think about this. Imagine if somebody rich, let's say maybe a Joe Rogan type, were to put up $1 million as a prize for the first person to run over 1,000 balls in straight pool. Well, first of all, I think Jayson Shaw would drop out of whatever tournament he was playing, and he'd head straight over to backroom billiards and be on it, right? But I can also imagine other top pros setting up cameras and making a serious attempt to win that prize money. It's sad that there isn't more of a reward for top players to try it today. And I commend Jayson Shaw for trying it, for the little bit he makes for it, and for the fame of being the person to do it. So, sincere congratulations. He set new world records twice. That's amazing. Believe it or not, even if there was a $1 million prize offered, I don't think as many top pros as you might think would be able to come close. As I said, it takes more than just straight pool knowledge to do it. But what do you think? And who do you think has what it takes to run 1,000 balls? Leave your comments in the comment section, as I know you will. Let me shrink my head down now. Let's look at some shots by Jayson Shaw. Now, I don't have access to the video of the 832 ball run. I watched the run live while it was being live streamed. But the shots I'm going to show you are during the same session. Jayson was only there for like 3 or 4 days. So these are from the same session as the 832 run, and they're very typical of what he was doing during that session. Let's take a look. First thing I prepared for you is an image. This is 20 typical break shots. Now, when we're playing straight pool, we take what we can get, right? Wherever the break ball ends, and then we learn how to manage different break shots, whether they're high or low, when your angle's inside or outside, all different things. But look at these break shots. These are almost all the same. What are we looking at? Look at this one over here. High break ball. It's about a diamond away from the rail, or halfway between the rack and the pockets, okay? That's almost the same for all of them. There's a few of them that are a little bit lower, like this one. There's another one that was lower. This one here, second one on the top row, pretty close to the rack. But for the most part, we're looking at a break ball that's high across from the top of the rack. Look at this 3 ball, up how high above the rack it is and far away. Look at how far this 10 ball in the top right corner is, and the cue ball there. And then every single one of them, he has an inside angle. An inside angle is, we'll look at the top left. You have a line parallel to the rail. If your cue ball is inside the line, that's an inside cut. If it's outside the line, it's an outside cut. Almost every single break shot the entire week that Jayson played was an inside angle like this. This is what I mean by adapting your game. Now, first of all, like I said, most of us, we're going to take the break shot we can get. That's not good enough. Jayson's getting this angle every single time. It means more energy into the rack. It means you don't have to blast the cue ball as hard. And it means better control of the cue ball. You know it's either going to back up and go through the rack, go straight to the bottom rail, or straight to the side rail, depending on the break shot. So that's one thing to look for when you buy the DVD and check out his 832 run. Now I have just one example of a break shot here. I talked about the cue ball going to the side rail or the bottom rail. Here it goes to the side rail. Watch this. You see how it hit the rack, it kind of bounced off it, and then curved and went to the side rail. One of the most important things when you're putting together a huge run like this, you have to avoid the things that can happen, the random chance that I call failure points. One of those is scratching on your break shots. That's the strength of this type of break shot. You're almost never going to scratch doing this. During the 7-14 ball run, Jayson shot a lot of very similar break shots, but his cue ball would often go to the bottom rail, side rail, and then here. So, and he would often have a shot and wouldn't risk a scratch. But when the cue ball's on one side of the table, then you have fewer shot opportunities around the table. Whereas if you can get your cue ball to stop in the center of the table, which is what this cue ball is about to do, then you have more likely to have shot opportunities in every direction. The 7-14 ball run ended when this cue ball went here, and instead of going to the side rail, and instead of colliding with another ball, which would have avoided the scratch, the cue ball went all the way up to the head rail and scratched. So since the 14, Jayson has changed his technique a little. When his cue ball goes to the bottom rail, it's either going to the bottom rail and dying there, depending on the angle and the location of the break ball, or it's going to the corner and out towards the center of the table. You never saw his cue ball doing this up towards the corner pocket this week where he ran the 832. So that's one change that I noticed in his game having to do with the break shot. In all fairness, I've got to point this one out. This is a typical break shot, as I mentioned, an inside angle. Generally, you don't want the cue ball up against the rail. It happens, but I don't remember this ever stopping Jayson. But I have to show this break shot. The ball's a little bit lower and it's a little bit farther from the rack. I want you to watch the 10 ball. I mentioned this is an easy table. In all fairness, I've got to point out this shot. Watch the 10 ball. Oh my. Now, the only reason he was able to get away with that, the break ball hit the rail like here, is because of the angle. If the cue ball was here on this angle, he would have had to hit that twice as far to get the balls to open up that much. If he did that and hit the rail here, the ball would not have gone in. It's only because of the sharp angle that he doesn't have to hit it as hard, which means the object ball is more likely to fall if it brushes the rail before the pocket. This is part of what I talk about, changing your technique based on the equipment. That's intelligent play. It's also less work, because if you're straining and struggling to aim the object ball at the center of the pocket on every single shot, you're just going to wear yourself out, and you won't get over 300 balls. You just won't, because you're going to be too tired. You've got to shoot it at a faster pace, and you got to wing at those balls. And Jayson's the type of player who can do it. He's locked on that aim point before he bends over, and when he bends over, he's ready to pull the trigger real quicker than most of us. I'm going to shoot. In all fairness, I have a series of shots that I call bad shots that we're going to show, and then a whole bunch of good shots. This is one shot that Jayson misses, and it just shows. You say, oh, it's an easy table. How could you ever miss? Well, watch this shot. It looks like an easy combination, right? There's no combination that's easy. Not one. It only takes the slightest mental lapse to miss even an easy combination like that. Maybe he took his eye off the ball. Maybe he was thinking about the position of the cue ball for the next shot. Who knows? But are you going to be able to make every single combination you're faced with over a course of an 800 ball run? When he ran his 832, Jayson did. But this is an example of an easy table doesn't mean it's easy. It's just easier than a tighter table. That's all. And here's just one more example. A missed break shot. They can be missed. Don't think they're all just going to go in because the pockets are 4.9 inches. You still got to aim. You still got to aim better than that. And he was mad at himself after missing that shot. But think about it. 832. That's 59 break shots in a row. I can't do it. Not even on 5-inch pockets. I never have. It's not easy. When you watch the run, look for this shot. this is what I call a kill shot. The speed of this cloth is perfect for playing straight pool because it's a fast table that the cue ball rolls fast, but when the cue ball is running, it slows down quickly. The table grabs, the cloth grabs very quickly. I don't remember which cloth it is, but it grabs very easily. And of course, it's new cloth, so that makes it a little more slidey. But look at the angle that Jayson Shaw has on this key ball. If I have this angle, I'm considering going back and forth because I don't want my cue ball to travel too far over here where I have too shallow of an angle on the break shot. I'm really worried about that. Watch the cue ball on this cut shot, thin cut shot. Just like every other break shot that I mentioned, he held it well inside, the inside angle. He used the rails to his advantage. That ball hit the rail about here, but that's the way these tables play, and he used it to his advantage, along with a really good kill stroke. That's shooting extremely low on the cue ball to get lots of backspin, so that you have backspin on the cue ball when it strikes the object ball, but you don't get draw. It just kills the speed. Perfect kill shot. Jayson used that kill shot to his advantage many times during the 832 run to hold that cue ball. And that's the power or that's what you're able to do on a table like this. You know, if you're playing on 4-inch pockets or 4.5-inch pockets, you've got to hit this object ball more accurately, and that means less you can do with the cue ball. But on this table, you can take, like let's say the cue ball was here. You can take a 15-degree angle and play a stop shot to stop the cue ball, or you can cut it a little thinner and use a little spin and bounce the cue ball all the way across the table. That's a skill to know how to do that on this type of equipment, how to manipulate the cue ball into what you need, even when you have, when you have a shallow angle and not the angle that you need. We're going to look at some bad shots. I'm calling bad shots, but it's just non-standard. This is a key ball. He's shooting the 11 as a key ball for break. No respectable straight pool player is going to want this shot as a key ball shot. And Jayson wouldn't. And I think most straight pool players would probably try to, I don't know, pound the cue ball across and come back or something like that. But this is what Jayson's able to do. Do you see the cue ball accelerate after it stalled? And then it came down close to the center pockets. That's probably the shallowest angle he got almost all week on a break shot. This shot's along the same lines. I'm sure you can see what's happening. Same thing. You see the cue ball accelerate. And he might have wanted a little more spin, but this is another example of the kill shot. Look at how much angle and distance he has. Look how he killed it and held an inside angle on that shot. Here's another kill shot. Like I said, the table's fast. You get that object ball rolling, and it can keep rolling and allow you to hold the angle for the break shot, which you wouldn't be able to do on other equipment. This one, you file this under a little bit sloppy. I mean, that ball hit the rail pretty high up there, but I want you to notice how slowly the ball was traveling. He needed that for position, and that helped in pocketing, and that's just knowing the table. And here's another shot that we might file under sloppy. Again, very softly rolling, so it hits the point and rolls off the point so we can hold the angle for the break shot. It's just playing the table correctly. So now we're going to move on to the good. This is an end pattern. And obviously the 6 ball is going to be Jayson's break shot. And you look at the table, what's your key ball? Probably the 5 ball. You just want an angle on the 5 and then you can bounce out. When I look at this table, I'm thinking that I want to clear these 3 balls, then move the ball up table, because you have like a massive position window on this 2 ball where you can play the cue ball over here to get on that 5. That's what I would do. How about getting the cue ball to curve off from that cut shot without hitting your break ball, then cutting the 2 thin, coming back down table with the correct speed to not hook yourself behind the 3, and then from here, it's connect the dots. This is just a tap in to bring the cue ball up to make sure that you stay below the shot line to transition up to the 5. That's a pivot ball that I talk about all the time, and another routine break shot. Here's another end pattern, and this is a change that Jayson made to his game, and in my opinion, compared to the 714 ball run. And I've talked about this a lot, this rail ball. The break ball is obviously the 3. When you have a ball in this quadrant, you want to get rid of it early. Well, 3 years ago, Jayson might have left that ball, and he might have even played the cue ball up here, shot this, and drew the cue ball back for his break shot. He's learned since then not to do that. He's recognized right now that this ball needs to be removed early, and so he plays a more traditional end pattern. It's wise to recognize that the 1 ball has limited pockets. Use it to get on that rail ball. Use the rail ball as a key ball to get on the 2, which you just checked for the angle there. And then from there, it's a routine pattern. Almost a stop shot pattern, minimal cue ball movement. And notice he's not doing his full shot routine with the standing behind the shot and shot entry and all that. It's efficiency so that you can last for the hours it takes to put up a big number. Jayson's playing better straight pool than he was 3 years ago in the 714. Here's a good shot. I'm going to pause it real quick. This is a tough shot. It's a combination, but you're jacked up over a ball. You're shooting at part of the 3 ball that's hidden behind the 13 in order to make another combination. This isn't the high percentage shot, even with easy pockets. There it goes. This is another example of what knowing your equipment can do. And let me see if I can slide this over real quick. Take a look at the overhead camera. Jayson has an angle where he has to cut the 8 ball to his left in order to make it in the side pocket. Most players are just going to be rolling the cue ball to the rail, up to the side rail above the side pocket, making this a much more difficult break shot. Take a look at how Jayson plays this. That's not that easy. You're shooting that ball right off the point of the right side of the pocket. Got to hit it hard to stun it over there. He's just operating off from a micro angle into that fraction of the pocket to make sure that he stays below the side pocket and gets that acute inside angle that he favors that we already talked about. 3 years ago when Jayson ran the 714, I made a video and I called him Jayson the Bumper because he's always bumping balls, doing it very strategically and bumping the break balls into position. I want you to look at this rack and ask yourself, how would you play it? Because he does have a break ball, the 3 ball, and all the other balls are, they're pretty well open. And I think he's shooting the correct shot. The correct shot is the 5. I'm going to be rolling forward, probably running into the 11, knowing that I'm going to have a shot on the 10 next or the 2. From the 2, you can come back over here and all these balls go in this way, in this pocket. That's how I think I'm going to approach this. Watch what Jayson does. Shoots that with the control needed to gently tap the 3 ball this way to make it a better break ball. As I said, across from the top of the rack. Like I said, most straight pool players, when they get a break ball, they don't want to move it. They're gonna play it where it is and maneuver around the rest of the balls to get on that break shot. Jayson had 1 break ball and he made it better. This is another quick example of the same. You've got a shot on the 2 ball. What are you going to do? I'm going to play the cue ball across here, and I might play position for this ball in the corner or this one, or back across to play the 5. The 5 is not a good key ball for your 8 ball break shot. Probably one of the up table balls would be a good key ball because you can clear these balls, then shoot the 13, and then from this ball up here you can go side rail and here, and then you're on your break shot. That's what I'm thinking about. What does Jayson do? Same thing as I just mentioned before. Make a good break ball better with position on the 5. Do you have the control to be able to cut that ball thin with spin and hit the correct side of the 8 with the correct speed to improve the break ball and get a shot on the 5? This is a Jayson shot. He misplayed position on his key ball. I think he might have wanted the 14 in the side, and then he'd have an easy shot on the 5 in the side to roll forward for the break shot. If I was going to shoot this, I would probably be looking at playing the 5 in the side, sending my cue ball over here. I'll probably be able to either draw to the side rail and out or go around the break ball like this. That's what I'd be looking at. Jayson tries to slide over and get an angle on the 5 to then just slide his cue ball over with a break shot. He doesn't get it. So this is a Jaysonism. This is a Jayson shot that you're not going to see from almost any other player. Center pocket, draw the cue ball 2 rails out, just far enough to get a good angle on the break shot. Here's another example. This is going to happen to anyone in any straight pool run of any length. You're going to end up where the cue ball kind of slides out of position. It happens, and you're faced with a tough shot. And what are you going to do? How about cutting the one ball backwards and sending the cue ball 3 rails around back into for perfect position? That's the type of thing Jayson is able to do to keep a run going. I'm going to file this one under bad shot because I think he really misplayed this. I think the shot is to just ease the 8 ball in and send the cue ball this way. I like getting, here's the shot line. I like staying on this side of the shot line because then you shoot the 13 in the corner and then you can bounce over here to the rack area and then you've got a shot on this in the side to get on your break shot. I think that's the best way to do it. I'm not certain what Jayson Shaw was trying to do. He obviously hit it harder and was trying to do something else, maybe go around the 13 and go past it. But again, totally out of line, and you want to keep the run going. What are you going to do? Now, I talked about these being easy pockets and using the rails. Watch where this 13 ball goes. That goes in the pocket on a table with 4-inch pockets. But he still has bad position. What are you going to do? You can't ease this in the side pocket. The cue ball is going to come out too far. You don't have a bank. This is a harder cut shot than the one he just played. Are you going to be able to do this with the speed control to get on your break shot? Now that time he used the rail, and he hit it softly. So that's using the table. And look, he's got his preferred angle on the break shot once again. Okay, to close this out, let's take a look at a typical rack by Jayson Shaw. Now, not every rack goes this well, but with this type of break shot and this type of angle and control of the cue ball, also the little donuts for racking the balls helps the rack to open nicely most of the time, not all the time. This is an example of a typical rack where it lends itself to long runs, but because you can run through the rack with minimal effort. Jayson does so by recognizing the pattern right from the beginning. I've got it speeded up 10 times, but you're going to be able to follow what he does anyway. This is a typical rack. Check it out. The balls are kind of semi-open. The 6 is the break ball, and everything's just laying there. Look at the minimal cue ball movement. He saw the pattern right from the start. Pretty incredible, and that's what you have to be able to find a real good percentage of the time in order to put up a monster number. And then on top of that, don't scratch and don't miss. Good luck. I hope you like that. Congratulations to Jayson Shaw. We're going to be looking for him to run 1,000, and I'd like to see some other players give it a try. Let me know who you think can do it in the comment section, and what do you think of the 832. See you next week on Rack of the Week. If you're going to play straight pool, play it straight. Bye.